In the annals of American crime, few names evoke the same chilling terror as Ted Bundy. His name has become synonymous with fear and horror, a symbol of the darkest aspects of human nature. He was the charming law student, the dedicated campaign volunteer, the man who seemed to have it all together, the seemingly normal young man next door, who could easily blend into any social setting. But beneath this carefully constructed facade lurked a monster, a predator with a sinister agenda, a predator who shattered the lives of countless innocent women, leaving a trail of devastation and heartbreak. Bundy's reign of terror during the 1970s left a permanent scar on the American psyche, a wound that has never fully healed, forever reminding us that evil often wears the most disarming smile, hiding its true intentions behind a mask of normalcy. This is the story of Ted Bundy, one of America's most notorious serial killers whose crimes continue to haunt us. It is a story of deception and brutality, of a man who manipulated and exploited our trust, of a killer who shattered our sense of security and left us questioning the true nature of those around us. It is a story that continues to fascinate and horrify, a tale that has been retold in countless books, documentaries, and films, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly ordinary individuals, a darkness that can emerge when we least expect it. Theodore Robert Bundy was born in Burlington, Vermont in 1946. His early life was marked by instability and shrouded in a sense of shame. Raised by his grandparents, who he believed were his parents, Bundy endured the stigma of illegitimacy in a time when such things carried a heavy weight. The truth of his parentage eventually emerged, but the damage was done. Even in childhood, there were glimpses of the darkness that would come to define him. Neighbors recalled a strange, withdrawn boy who seemed detached from reality. Tales of animal cruelty and a fascination with knives hinted at a deeply disturbed psyche. As Bundy grew older, his outward demeanor shifted. He cultivated a charming persona, excelling in school and becoming involved in student politics. Yet, beneath the surface, a simmering rage and a dangerous obsession with control festered. The exact date when Ted Bundy claimed his first victim remains unknown. Some believe his murderous impulses first surfaced in his late teens, while others point to the early 1970s as the beginning of his reign of terror. What is certain is that by 1974, a pattern of disappearances and brutal murders had begun to emerge in the Pacific Northwest. Young women, often college students, vanished without a trace. Their bodies, when found, bore the horrific marks of Bundy's savagery. He would often return to the sites where he had dumped his victims, indulging in necrophilia and taking gruesome trophies. The brutality of his crimes, coupled with his ability to blend in and appear completely normal, sent shockwaves through communities and left law enforcement scrambling for answers. As the body count rose, so too did the realization that the killer was highly mobile. Bundy's crimes were not confined to a single geographic location. He preyed on women in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, and Florida, leaving a trail of heartbreak and fear across the country. His modus operandi remained chillingly consistent. Bundy often used his charm and good looks to disarm his victims, often feigning injury or impersonating authority figures to gain their trust. Once he had them alone, he would overpower them, unleashing his rage in a torrent of violence. The randomness and brutality of his crimes fueled a nationwide panic, as women lived in fear of becoming the charming stranger's next victim. Despite the escalating terror, law enforcement agencies were initially slow to connect the dots. The widespread nature of Bundy's crimes, coupled with the lack of sophisticated forensic techniques at the time, made it difficult to establish a link between the murders. However, as the body count grew, so too did the determination to catch the elusive killer. Witnesses came forward describing a handsome young man with a cast on his arm, driving a Volkswagen Beetle. This crucial piece of information, combined with a growing database of suspect profiles, eventually led investigators to focus on Ted Bundy. There were close calls, times when Bundy narrowly escaped capture. Yet, with each near miss, the net tightened and the pressure on the seemingly untouchable killer mounted. In a dramatic turn of events, Ted Bundy was finally apprehended in Florida in 1978. His capture was the result of a combination of factors, including his own carelessness and the relentless pursuit of law enforcement officials. After escaping custody twice, he continued his killing spree, adding 3 more victims to his horrific tally. Facing overwhelming evidence, including eyewitness accounts and forensic evidence linking him to the crimes, Bundy's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. He finally confessed to the murders of at least 30 women, though the true extent of his crimes may never be known. His chilling confessions provided a glimpse into the mind of a monster, revealing a depraved individual driven by a lust for power and control. Ted Bundy's trial was a media sensation, captivating the nation and drawing unprecedented attention from the public and the press. It sparked a national conversation about the nature of evil, the psychology of a killer, and the flaws in the justice system. Bundy reveled in the attention, often acting as his own attorney, which was a rare and bold move. He used the courtroom as a stage to further manipulate and control those around him, showcasing his narcissistic tendencies. Despite his attempts to charm the jury and deflect blame, his charisma couldn't overshadow the mountain of evidence. The evidence against him was insurmountable, painting a clear picture of his guilt. In 1979, Bundy was found guilty on multiple counts of murder and sentenced to death, a landmark moment in criminal justice. His conviction was a victory for justice, offering a sense of closure to the families of his victims who had waited years for this moment of reckoning. The verdict provided a semblance of peace to the grieving families, though the scars of loss remained. However, Bundy's story was far from over, as he continued to be a figure of fascination and fear. He remained on death row for nearly a decade, during which time he became the subject of numerous interviews and documentaries. During this period, he continued to deny his crimes, maintaining his innocence in the face of overwhelming evidence. Bundy manipulated the legal system in a desperate attempt to escape his fate, filing numerous appeals and exploiting every legal loophole available to him. The final curtain, execution, and denial. On January 24, 1989, after years of appeals and legal maneuvering, Ted Bundy was executed in Florida's electric chair. His execution was met with a mixture of relief and a morbid sense of fascination. Crowds gathered outside the prison, chanting and celebrating the demise of the man who had terrorized the nation for so long. Even in his final moments, Bundy clung to his charade, expressing remorse and attempting to shift blame onto pornography and his troubled upbringing. However, his attempts at manipulation fell on deaf ears. The world had seen through his mask, recognizing him for the monster he truly was. Ted Bundy's death brought a definitive end to his reign of terror, but the scars left by his crimes continue to haunt us to this day. A legacy of fear, the Bundy Effect. Ted Bundy's crimes had a profound and lasting impact on American society, forever altering our sense of security and shaping the way we view crime and punishment. The term, the Bundy Effect, was coined to describe the phenomenon of charismatic killers who use their charm and normalcy to disarm their victims. His case also led to significant advancements in criminal profiling and forensic science. Law enforcement agencies began to recognize the importance of connecting the dots between seemingly unrelated crimes, while advances in DNA technology revolutionized the way we investigate and prosecute criminals. However, even with these advancements, the specter of Ted Bundy continues to loom large in our collective consciousness. Beyond the grave, Bundy's disturbing confession. In the hours leading up to his execution, Ted Bundy granted a series of chilling interviews in which he finally admitted to the full extent of his depravity. He spoke in graphic detail about his crimes, revealing a level of cruelty and premeditation that shocked even the most seasoned investigators. Bundy's confessions provided a disturbing glimpse into the mind of a serial killer, offering insights into the motivations and compulsions that drove him to commit such horrific acts. He spoke of his need for control, his fascination with death, and the perverse pleasure he derived from inflicting pain and suffering on his victims. These final confessions cemented Bundy's legacy as a monster, a man devoid of empathy or remorse. The monster within, a chilling reminder. Ted Bundy's story is a chilling reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places, often hiding in plain sight. He shattered the illusion that monsters are easily identifiable, that they lurk in the shadows or on the fringes of society. Instead, he showed us that they can be our neighbors, friends, or even family members. Bundy taught us that monsters can wear a suit and tie, that they can be charming and charismatic, and that they can blend in seamlessly among us. His ability to manipulate and deceive was a stark reminder of the complexities of human nature. His legacy continues to fascinate and horrify, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of complacency and the importance of vigilance. The public's reaction to his trial was a mix of shock, disbelief, and a sobering realization of the evil that can exist in the world. The story of Ted Bundy is not just a story about a serial killer, it is a story about the human capacity for both great evil and profound resilience. It reminds us of the importance of remembering the victims and the impact on their families and communities. It is a story that continues to resonate with us today, urging us to confront the darkness that exists within ourselves and in the world around us. It challenges us to remain vigilant and to strive for a society where such horrors are less likely to occur.